So my Norwex story started shortly after I became a nurse and started working in the field. I'm a pediatric nurse by trade. I work in the pediatric ICU. And what I was seeing was a lot of chronic illnesses and cancers and certain things that I was just wondering why we're seeing so much more of it in this day and age. And so I started doing research and looking up the causalities and reasons and reading lots of just research on it. And was like, oh, okay, that's pretty interesting food for thought about why the foods that we eat or the products that we use contribute to our health later on down the road. And so I started just kind of going on with my life, and then I became pregnant with my first child, and that just kind of really turned a leaf for me. And I started using natural products, and they were really expensive just for like household cleaning, and then our food, we started using more organic and more grass-fed foods and that kind of stuff. And then much to the chagrin of my husband, I was cutting out processed food, which he was not happy about, but, because I was becoming crunchy or whatever. So anyways, we just kind of traveled down that road and then continued on that path while I was pregnant after I had my daughter. And then my son was born, and that kind of changed it a little bit for us. Because after he was born, about a month old, he got RSV, which is a really bad respiratory illness. He got it from my daughter because kids are petri dishes and they share everything. And so he was just really sick, and it kicked off month-long issues. Like every month for a week straight, or two weeks out of the month, he would be wheezing, and I'd be giving him breathing treatments, 3 different types of meds around the clock. We had 3 rounds of steroids by the time he was 8 months old. And I couldn't figure out why this was happening. Pretty much like clockwork every other week. And I finally put 2 and 2 together, and I realized that every time my cleaning ladies came, the chemicals that they would use in our house, even though I used natural products when they weren't there, they would come every other week, clean the house. I'd come home from Mother's Day out, I'd put him in his crib, and when he would wake up, his wheezing would be so bad I could hear it from the living room, the next room over. And all of a sudden the light bulb went off, and I was like, oh, wow. Here I am, a pediatric nurse, and it took me 7 months to figure this out. So anyways, I started looking for alternatives for cleaning products for him. And we switched over to Norwex, and that was 16 months ago. And we haven't had to give him a single breathing treatment since then. And not only that, I've actually converted my cleaning ladies to Norwex, and that's all they use in their homes and when they clean other homes as well. So it's made such a huge impact on my life and on my son's quality of life and his health. Not to give him a breathing treatment in over 16 months is remarkable. I mean, pretty remarkable. And it's, as a mother, you want to protect your child from everything. And so that's kind of how I got into Norwex. I totally did it for the discount because, let's be real, I like to save money. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. So that's a little bit of background about my story of how I came to Norwex and how it's impacted my life. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and enjoy the rest of the party.